भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन क्रथिता पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्ततामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणी.
I think we have to start. We'll start from Vedanta is a pramana.
Where you have to start?
Vedanta is a pramana.
Okay.
And in order for it to work, you require exactly as much Shraddha as you have in your eyes. In fact, it goes one step further.
Acharyopasana, under Acharyopasana, last two paragraphs he is saying. We have finished actually. We have to start from Saucha. When the Vastu.
Middle.
Okay.
It's not, no problem. It's not.
Your eyes, even without being defective, can misinterpret situations.
Vedanta is a pramana.
They see a blue sky which is not there at all, or they can fail to see things like microbes due to their own inherent limitations. But Vedanta, because it reveals the Vastu that is not subject to negation, is a pramana that deserves absolute Shraddha. Because it is talking about the limitless, it cannot be improved upon, and since it is not reducible to something else, it is not a point of view. While perception is the root pramana, because all other pramanas depend upon it, Shabda is considered to be the last pramana. All others I operate. Whereas this one comes from outside. If at all there is any eye that has listened to the Shastra, it is one that is imbued with Shraddha. The importance of Shraddha cannot be overestimated. Here in the Gita, Krishna makes a very bold statement about it. Shraddhavan labate jnanam. The one who has Shraddha gains knowledge. And in the Upanishads, it is said, Acharyavan Purusho Veda. The person who has a teacher knows. One who has a teacher and who has Shraddha in the teacher and in the Shruti cannot fail to know the truth of Shruti. When the Vastu and Pramana are both there with nothing to interfere, as the knowledge emanates from the teacher, it is just absorbed by the student, who is all attention without anxiety or indifference. With a love to know and a deep respect for the source of knowledge, he has everything necessary for knowing. This is Acharya Upasana. Literally, it means sitting with the teacher. Upasana is also meditation, wherein the object is kept in view and one remains always connected to it by Shraddha. Respect and love together is Shraddha. If there is intellectual respect for the teacher's scholarship, but you do not look up to him as a person, or there is love alone and no value for his learning, there is no Shraddha. When there is Shraddha, absorption takes place naturally because the Ahankara does not interfere. To keep the Ahankara suspended, you require Shraddha. And suspending the Ahankara is essential because the whole teaching is meant to falsify the Ahankara through the discovery of its own true nature, Swarupa. This is a catch-22 situation. Unless the Ahankara is suspended, at least for the time being, there is no knowledge, and unless there is knowledge, there is no elimination of Ahankara. The problem is circumvented completely by introducing Shraddha that keeps the Ahankara under check so that it does not interfere with the operation of the Pramana, and knowledge just takes place. Afterwards, you find that the Ahankara is not there in reality, that it is Mithya. What is it? Catch-22?
Yesterday I asked.
Yeah, yesterday also. See, when Ahankara will interfere, I see, that I know Vedanta, even that Ahankara will appropriate. See, Ahankara is such a dangerous thing that you have to appropriate. Vedanta is also one more piece of knowledge or information. So I will go around telling, I know all these things, I've done so much in life, plus I also know Vedanta. So that is the danger of Ahankara. So Vedanta has nothing to do with Ahankara because once it understood, Vedanta understanding is you. Vedanta equal to you. And that you is Ahankara minus Kara. So the Ahankara is totally knocked off by the knowledge. So if the knowledge really happens, Ahankara has to be eliminated. But initially, even for coming to the class, you need Ahankara. That's the sense you have to take yourself, make yourself ready and all that. But during the class, you have to suspend. The Ahankara should not interfere. Your buddhi should be there, the teaching, the vastu, the pramana and your buddhi. They have to be aligned. That is where you totally surrender to the Shastra and the teacher and keep the Ahankara and abeyance. Then as slowly when the teaching, the understanding really grows on you, the real I, the Swarupa I, gets prominence. Thereafter Ahankara has no place. Till then you needed the samsari Ahankara gets reduced to asamsari I.
Asamsari?
As long as samsari Ahankara, as long as Ahankara is ruling the roast, it will be a samsari. But once the understanding is there, you become asamsari. The same I becomes asamsari minus the Ahankara. So that is the reality. So Ahankara is, this catch-22 is, you have to, you cannot totally eliminate. Ahankara will be there and you come to the class. You understand. And once understanding that, Ahankara goes. That's why he says Ahankara has to be suspended. There is no elimination of Ahankara. But once the understanding is there, elimination is not required. Because you know the real I has come. The real I is once understood, Ahankara has no place. Ahankara substitutes for the real I because you don't know the reality. Till then, because there is nothing else to substitute. Somebody has to be there not to operate. Till then, Ahankara will be valid. Thereafter, once you understand the real I, the reality of I, your being, automatically Ahankara vanishes as an uninvited guest, which you have been always studying. So that is how it is. That is why the catch-22 in the sense. That is why that all these values are needed. The infrastructure, the mind, the buddhi, the Ahankara will be there. You have to bring, even for coming to the class, you need that Ahankara, relative. But slowly over a period, as the clarity and understanding improve, Ahankara's value in your life will come down. It will start, it will become an instrument in your hands rather than taking you for a ride. Till the time you understand, the Ahankara takes you for a ride. You get carried away by what you think. You think you have any problem, you will say Bhagavan or others have not done the right thing. When anything you have done, everything comes out okay, you will say, I have done it. So these are all the fallacy of the Ahankara because it is mithya. It has no leg on its own. It's purely a propped up thing in life till the time you understand. So that is why it's called catch-22. Catch-22 is for just time being. Once this understanding improves, then there's no great effect. That is how it is. Yeah. But you have to be alert to that. Anytime it can crop up. That is why that alertness I always tell. The apramata and the space between the I and the mind has to be maintained. You have to see what is happening. That is why that Prajahati Yata Kaman, the second chapter, very important sloka. The Sthita Prajnas, the last sloka, the Upadesas, Krishna's Upadesa in Bhagavad Gita is over with that particular verse. Prajahati Yata Kaman Sarvan Partha Manogata Atmani Atmana Tushtaha Sthita Prajnastu Uchyate. So thereafter, your mind will be totally just a mind. The mind means recorder, chittam, that is memory, your buddhi, ahankara, all are called together called mind. In that only everything happens as what? Vritti, thought process. Continuously thoughts keep coming. That is called Prajavati Yata Kamam Sarvan Partha Manogata. Mad Mudimai ordinary thoughts not Naraya or Naladu, Katadu, Arinjadu, Ariyadu, fancy, fantasy, Ella varum. But you have to just pick and choose what is relevant for the current situation and act on it. That and for that you must have the handle on the mind. For that, you must have the Sthita Prajna. Sthita Prajna means understanding, your reality understanding. So that has to grow. As it grows on, it becomes, you will see, you will be able to laugh at your own thoughts. So that is why that is important. That will happen. Once the reality, because this particular understanding is so important, because it is not something other than you. It is you. Either you understand wrongly or correctly. If you don't understand correctly, you are bound to operate with the wrong eye. That is ahankara. So unless and until you understand it correctly, you are bound to be misled. You can't cry over it because you need somebody. No, for you to conduct your life, you have to be there as somebody. So if you are not the right body, you will be the wrong body. So that is why it's paramount to understand the correctness. So that's why I always tell people, there is no choice for understanding life. You may not understand Sanskrit, you may not understand Russia, you must not understand, you can live your life, Swamiji used to say, you can live your life without seeing your back. There are people, generations of people have died without seeing their back. Why? Because in those days there was no cross mirrors and all that. Today we have cross mirrors and also we are able to see our back. But without seeing one part of the body, people have lived and gone. But that is not true with reference to your own understanding. Your understanding of yourself is a must. Otherwise you are going to get misled. That is precisely why we have come birth after birth after birth after birth, still continuing. Because we are not understood. Once we understood that our identity is with Ishvara, thereafter whether you are coming as a tortoise or a human being, it doesn't really make a difference. It is part of the samashti. So rebirth is not the issue. Understanding life is the issue. So that is how it is. That is how it's different. Yeah.
Saucha, inner and outer purity. Saucha means cleanliness or purity internally and externally. External cleanliness begins with the external environment, your dwelling place, physical body and clothes. Every day they gather dirt and therefore have to be cleaned. Anything that is used becomes dirty, whether it is your car, your body, clothes or a vessel. Since the mind is also being used constantly, it is also subject to asaucha. But while it is simple matter to keep the body etc. clean with varieties of cleaning agents, how are you to achieve inner cleanliness? First, let us see what is inner asaucha. Generally, this is anything that is not liked by you or by others. Anger, greed, selfishness, hatefulness, and so on. The mind that is exposed to various experiences naturally gathers some of these things. How do you clean it?
Gain of inner saucha is through prayer. One way is through prayer. Any prayer that is meaningful to you and is done with the express intent of being freed from all the things that cause pain to yourself and others, like jealousy, dishonesty, miserliness, and so on, is purifying. One that is commonly done in India before and after every Vaidika karma is to take 3 sips of water, saying Achyutaya Namaha, Anantaya Namaha, Govindaya Namaha. Salutations to Achyuta, the Lord who never wanes, who does not undergo any change. Unto that Lord who is eternal, my salutations. Salutations to Ananta, the one who has no end, who is limitless and appears in the form of the entire creation. How do we know he is Achyuta and Ananta? By the words of the Shastra, and therefore salutations to the Lord who is known through words Govinda. Another prayer is Om Bhu Bhuvasu, Om Bhu, Om Bhuvaha, Om Suvaha, Om Mahaha, Om Janaha, Om Tapaha, Om Satyam, Om Tat Savitur Varenyam, Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi, Diyo Yonav Prachodayat. As you repeat this mentally, you breathe in through one nostril and out through the other, generally 10 times. This is called pranayama. It brings about certain quietude and cleanliness of the mind. Pratipaksha Bhavana. Another method to remove jealousy, hatred and various other painful emotions is to bring in their opposite, Pratipaksha Bhavana. Suppose you feel hatred towards a person and want to be free from that, then you deliberately cultivate a liking for him. The problem is when you hate someone, how can you like him? Try to see what it is about the person that you hate. His nose, his eyes.
Swamiji, why is it that in the puja, when we as karta we are doing Om Bhuhu and then Namo Partha, but when ladies are doing, they do Shuklam Bharadam, they don't do Om Bhuhu, they straight away come to Namo Partha and do that. Why is it like that, Swamiji?
It's all only convention. Honestly, I don't have an answer for that. Basically, once you understand the Tatparya, whatever even Mahabharata is equally good. Nothing wrong in that. Because they don't do this Umbu, and or maybe because Upanayanam is not there. But Mahabharata Samasta Durdakshaidvara Parameshwara Prityartham is equally efficacious. It's also equally good. Nothing wrong. But it's all convention, I would say. I don't know exactly why it is, but this is all. The idea is, the whole thing is, we say Durita Kshayartham Parameshwara Prityartham. That also has lot of interpretation. Durita Kshayartham and Parameshwara Prityartham, in the sense, Parameshwara Prityartham is for Durita Kshayartham. Not because you, by Durita Kshaya, Parameshwara becomes happy. No, it's not like that. Parameshwara Prityartham, you are praying, please take care of the Durita. Durita means likes and dislikes, what he has told. So the Tatparyam has to be explained. In the sense, if you say Durita Kshayartham means all my enemies should go away. If that is the way you do the prayer, that is not Durita Kshayartham. That you are accumulating further Durita by doing that, by praying against somebody. So all these things are very not properly explained. See, the way in which prayer and Ishvara is explained in Gita is the only understanding of Ishvara. In that, there is no, what you call, Ishta Devata worship and that worship, this Devi, that Devi and all that. They call it only Ishvara. Okay, if you are free to do Avahanam for Ishvara in any of your Devata, that's fine. But ultimately the understanding should be Ishvara. Ishvara means what? Which we have already explained. Bhagavan, 6 types of Bhaga. In the sense, overlordship, omnipotence and omniscience. Which is what we do Avahanam onto that Pratima. The idea is bringing all the glories which you think of, all the valor, all the Dairyam, all the Lakshmi, everything onto that and tell that let me not be alienated from that Ishvara. By that, you become totally one with the Ishvara. So all your fear and all negativities, like why you have jealousy? Because you think there is something second. But everything is there is one Ishvara. Where is the question of jealousy? Who is to become jealousy of whom? So the understanding of Ishvara in the light of what Bhagavad Gita tells in various Bhakti chapters, wherever Ishvara is mentioned, you must keenly watch what exactly it means by Ishvara and prayer. If you are able to bring that attitude in all our prayers, automatically a lot of this, misunderstanding about rituals and only the symbolic, just mechanically doing things, and all those things will drop off. Every time you go to the prayer, you will bring in this particular bhavana of the oneness with Ishvara. Daily non-alienation. Automatically all your negative tendencies, that Dvita eva Dvaitam. Dvita eva Dvaitam means the fragmentation. The fragment between you and the next fellow, you think he is your enemy. You don't really call it so. But because you think he is different and he can be anytime a potential competitor for you, you feel that uncomfortable. You will not say it in openly, but the fact is the Dvitaitam Dvaitam. That is why I have sent a write-up also some time back. What is Advaita?
Yes.
Dvita, the second thing is enough. Then when you do prayer, the second thing goes out of the window. Because the whole thing is one, Samashti, Ishvara, everything in you, including your own body, mind, senses and its glory and all your Pranam, everything gets submitted, submerged into the Ishvara. So only the being is there, and Ishvara the being is there. The oneness is established in prayer. That is precisely what he is trying to say. And it can be developed, okay, Pratipaksha Bhavana, then deliberately having an opposite Bhavana compared to somebody whom you have jealousy with or whom you envy. That is explained. Yeah.
Swamiji, just now you explained about Durdekshetvara. What does it mean? Exactly, now you said.
Duritam Duritam means
Past.
anything that is not desirable in my life. Any imperfect. That basically what is impurity. Impurity.
Oh.
Duritam means impurity.
Impurity. Okay.
Mental impurity. Inner dirt.
Asaucham.
Durita Kshayadwara. Kshayana Povana. Durita Kshayadwara Parameshwara Prityartam. Parameshwara bless me to remove that Duritam. Because people will say, hey, Durita Kshayadwara, you will Parameshwara get pleased. You are doing, for pleasing Parameshwara, you are saying that Durita Kshayadwara. No, Parameshwara did not be pleased by you. He is always a pleased person. You have to pray. You are praying. You are asking him, please help me to get out of my Duritam. Very important part of the Sankalpa, but not explained properly.
Okay. But then how do you pronounce it? Durite Kshetvara Parameshwara.
Durita Kshayadwara Parameshwara
Prityartam only.
Yes, in Sanskrit, Pinna irukkalam word, because all the vibhaktis are in the word itself. So either way you can say Parameshwara Prityartam Durita Kshayadwara. There is another thing. Durita Kshayadwara Parameshwara Prityartam. Yeah. Adala, the people think Dwara means that is a way to please Bhagavan. Which is not so.
Yes,
You are not pleasing Bhagavan. You don't need to please Bhagavan.
Okay.
So Parameshwara Prityartam meaning please Parameshwara, let him bless. And by Durita Kshayadwara, then all my other things, let it happen properly. Let me do what is appropriate to the given situation. Let me be a dharmavan. Let me do what is right at any point in time. All those things come. Once that Sankalpa has to be clear in our mind, what it means. Every time we do, we should not do it mechanically. That is very important. Yeah.
Okay. So to see,
Try to see.
try to see. The problem is when you hate someone, how can you like him? Try to see what it is about the person that you hate. His nose, his eyes, you will find that there are a lot of things about him that you do not hate. Even in terms of behavior, you will find that only a certain behavior invokes your hatred. If you go one step further, why should you hate a behavior? You may say that it is wrong and that you do not know how to handle it, but that does not mean you have to hate it, much less the person that has it. A person is not a particular behavior. If you say something hurtful while dreaming or in a delirium, it is not fair to draw a set of conclusions about you based on that. Generally, you can question whether an action was appropriate, but not always. This analysis of our behavior can be useful, but more often it is a nuisance because it leads to self-criticism. In different degrees, everyone has critical thoughts about himself or herself. How do you manage them? First, bring in the opposite. Find out the features in yourself that are definitely appreciable. Be kind to yourself. This self-criticism is a habit developed in childhood, and like any habit, especially a habit of thinking, it is a die-hard. We have to learn how to be kind to ourselves because we have been taught to be hurtful to ourselves. It does not help. How kind you can be to yourself can be very nicely appreciated if you see your responses when you hurt your hand. First, you will cry out from the pain, but then you are so tender and caring to your own fingers. This is exactly how your mind has to be to your own patterns of thinking. Being critical is inimical to your psychological well-being. So you remove that by its opposite. Because habit dies hard, you must understand that it is a habit and not condemn yourself on the basis of it. You initiate a process of introducing the opposite in order to remove the habit. It is not easy, but it has to be done. This is inner cleanliness. External saucha.
This whole para, what he talks about is how to be kind to yourself. In the sense, how to get out of this inner, inner process of cleanliness by being good to yourself. In the sense, only when you are being good to yourself, being objective about your own goodness and all that, then only you can appreciate the good in others also. So, everyone wants to deal with himself. Nobody wants to hate oneself. But still, it happens. Time and again, throughout the day, we find that we are critical about ourselves. He says how to get out of self-criticism by being nice to ourselves. How being objective. Once you do that, the same thing you must be able to apply to others. Like how you are being nice to yourself, you have to be nice to others also. Because they are also somebody like you only. So that is how you have to approach. The Pratipaksha Bhavana is how to approach, how to get over these all negativities in your life. By being positive about it. How? By only deliberately you have to do that. Because there are not even a negative person, only a certain aspect may be negative. There will be a lot of plus points in him. So to bring in all that, okay, because of this particular situation is behaving like that. What is his cause? That's why I was telling, even when somebody is critical in your relationship or in your interactions with him, you find a lot of things that is coming very negative to you. You have to observe cleanly what is he trying to say, how is he behaving. Very closely, if you observe, your reaction will get subsided. It will not be, it will go to the background. You will be more observing and you will be empathetic. Why he is like that and all that, and find a way to improve. Either you change, if possible, you can change yourself, or you can change the other person, or at least appreciate why he is like that, and you don't have to react immediately. Maybe after a couple of days, depending on the situation, what is the situation and all that, you can appropriately respond, but not impulsively at this given moment. There it becomes mechanical. That becomes a reaction. You should not react. You should only act. For all that saucham is needed. Saucham in the sense that the calmness of approach when you are dealing with the other person, instead of developing hatred, jealousy, all those things. All those negativities should be avoided. That is called saucham. That's what he's trying to say. It is not it is not an absolute what is written in rock and all that. It is a question of situational. How you maintain your balance of mind when you are dealing with others. So immediately you may have some negative, but if you are able to ride over it by bringing in a Pratipaksha Bhavana, opposite, understanding of the empathy and all that, then you will be able to ride over that feeling. And slowly it will go away also. Once you understand thoroughly, it will go away. So it's all a question of management of your likes and dislikes. Everything is part of it. That's what we have come with. That is part of the personality. Personality means what? His own likes and dislikes makes the personality. But that is not the reality. Likes and dislikes make the personality. It is only a false personality, ego. That false personality has to be slowly etched away by understanding clearly what is the reality. And the reality is pure and complete and whatever Shastra talks about. And if you really sit and meditation and you are able to contemplate on that, at the end of these 20 values, he talks about that. Vivikta Desa Sevitvam, Arati Jana Samsadi, Adhyatma Jnana Nityatvam, Tattva Jnanartha Darshanam, Yetat Jnanam. He tells that at the end of it, he will say, Idu Unnuda Jnanam. Yetat Jnanam, Iti Proktam, Ajnanam, Yetat Onyasa. Idu Tavara Matadala Ajnanam. அப்படின்னு சொல்லி முடிக்கிறார். How you will be able to do that only when you are able to relatively develop these values. You must be able to sit now, Vivikta Desa Sevitvam. The sense, you must be happy to sit alone. Whenever you get a chance to sit alone, you must be happy. Even that will tell you what sort of a person you are. There are a lot of people cannot sit alone for some time, even a few minutes. They will get fidgety.
Yes.
So that will tell you the inner composure you have. With the Desa Sevitvam. Sevitvam meaning you must be able to love it. Arati Jana Samsadi. You are not always trying to be in a crowd. Okay, you happen to be in a situation meeting and all, it's fine. That is part of the course. But you should not be always seeking company. That means what? You are not happy with yourself. It only betrays your lack of being happy with yourself. That is why you are looking for company. Arati Jana Samsati. Arati means
Not liking.
Swamiji, you have gone out of line.
என்ன பண்ண முடியாது.
நம்புகிறேன். Dial in manually.
Dial in manually.
Then Adhyatma Jnana Nityatvam, your understanding of reality on the basis of all these things, you will be able to do it more often during the day. Adhyatma Jnana Nityatvam. Then, once you are able to do that, then Tattva Jnanartha Darshanam. You will be able to see clearly what is the reality. First is the Adhyatma Jnana, that is the study and the understand, reflection and all that. Then understanding. Tattva Jnanartha Darshanam. And after saying this, he says, Eta Jnanam. This is the only thing that is paramount understanding in life. Ajnanam is the only. Even if you know rocket science and automobile science, they are all only part of Ajnanam. Because that doesn't really help you. It helps you for some aspects of your life. But your understanding of life as a Purnam Brahma Ahamasmi is the only reality that you will carry forward. Take it with you. Everything else you have to drop it and go. So that is how he completes this. For that process we are going through all this. So this will all, each one of us will relatively push us towards that. Even there, finally, before that he says, Maicha Ananya Yogena Bhaktirabhya Vicharini. Nanu Bhagavanu Vera Illengra identity yoda Bhakti Panano. Bhakti Panano, and then you have to be sitting in prayer. Which is what he is explaining. In inner Saucham, that Mama Bhakta Samaste Sollum Bodom, Bhutbhavaha Sollum Bodom, you must be feeling, you must be very clear that you are not alienated from Bhagavan. Because Om Bhuhu, Om Bhuvaha, Om Swaha, Om Maha, it talks about entire 7 up and 7 down below, 14 lokas. The 14 lokas in together are put the Om and that Om is you. So where is the alienation? That is part of the prayer. So that prayer will help us to drop this alienation from Bhagavan, become unalienated from Ishvara. Then the prayer automatically is very pleasing. That's your mind like that. So that is how prayer also has to be. This will also help you to get over all these negativities about you. Prayer, that's why he started. Prayer is the best way to get away from negativities in life. Once that prayerfulness is there, the small things like jealousy, hatred, the reactive mind, all those things will drop off. Over a period of time, it will drop off. That's what he says. Yeah.
Swamiji, I have a doubt. He says self-criticism. No, it's not good. But like he says, we have been brought up like that. Or we always think of ourselves like that. But sometimes, when we behave in certain manner, later on when you think you have done something wrong, only if you self-analyze, you will understand that you should not repeat.
You can analyze, but you should not criticize.
Okay.
That's what he says. See, what he says is, he gives a typical example. He has not given. Suppose your hand by chance gets into your eyes. But neither the eye you blame nor the hand you blame. Even though the hand has done it, you don't punish the finger, you don't cut it. You take care of the eyes. Okay, you do something, whatever you do to take care. But at the same time, you are not blaming your hand. In the same way, you can analyze, you can do what is appropriate, but you should not hate or criticize or fight. The whole society is one Ishvara. So one part of the society affects another part of society. You cannot immediately hurt and get angry and all that. Find a way to get over it. Take care what is to be needed, what is to be done and all that. Some analysis, some space again. What exactly you do is depending on the situation. What is important is you should not get overwhelmed by the situation, and that is only taking you to extreme emotions, hatred and all that. Why? Because you get totally identified. The space is not there between you and the situation, on you and the mind. The thought that comes into the mind, you should not get carried away. It's only an instrument. The thought also is only an instrument. I, the being, is there. For that, you must have a certain value for I, the being. And that is what this The whole thing, the 12 chapters, what you have gone through, has told you what is this I. We can never gloss over it. Must have that understanding, must have that shraddha in knowing this I, the reality of I, as Desha Kala Vastu Aparichitam. And the reality of Ishvara also is the same. And everything in between the world is only a changing manifestation of this I. This is what we have done in the 12 chapters.
Yes, I understand. But no, why I'm saying is,
and once you have it, now you are going into the how to go about my life in such a way that I am able to, I don't lose sight of that at any point in time. That means what? There can be situations in your life, it will really put you into some spin. Some extreme emotions will come. At that time you must get alert. This being so, how to get over the situation without getting carried away. And for that inner saucham, that space is needed. For that, what is the upaya? Like how you take care of your hand, even though it hurts your eyes, you don't cut the finger, you don't hurt the eyes, you take care. You analyze what is the reason, why it should not have been done, how we don't repeat it again. All these things you have to analyze calmly and do something about it. The same way in the society. So once you have a sort of attitude you have towards yourself, empathy and understanding, you must display it for others also. That way, your inner saucham will be taken care of. That is why we say that Diyo Yonam Prachodayat, what we say in Gayatri, is not a prayer for only me. It is meant for the whole world. Diyo Yonam Prachodayat. Naha means plural. Diyo, ellaroda mind nallabadiya irukattum. Appada naan nallabadiya irukattum. So every day your prayer of Gayatri is, you are praying for the world. Sarvogana, Sarvojana, Sukhino Bhavantu. So that is how it is. There is no escaping that. You have to have a good empathy and understanding towards others. Yeah.
External saucha. External saucha is
Sir,
something.
you want to read?
Internet problem. Okay. Prashant, can you read? Appa kekara.
Yeah. 1 second.
External saucha.
Yeah, 1 second. Gain of inner saucha is through prayer. Pratipaksha bhavana.
And next para.
1 second. External saucha is something over which you have a better control and is important as the beginning point of cleanliness. Once the environment is in order, it brings about certain order in the mind. As a prerequisite to inner cleanliness, it is essential because you cannot sit in a place where things are lying in disarray and meditate or pray. Do you feel like going to the garage and meditating? Nobody comes there. It is a quiet place. Why not? You know it is not conducive to meditation because it is dirty and filled with junk. There is no inspiration there. Although you close your eyes, something tells you you are sitting in the garage. Your nose tells you, the dust tells you. That is why external cleanliness is so important. In the 6th chapter, we saw that for meditation, the body is to be placed in a place that is clean. This is necessary whether you want to write, read, or sit and meditate. The place should be such that as you enter, you feel like doing something reflective. When things are all in a mess, you feel like getting out. So, you keep the physical environment clean, including your body, to provide conducive conditions to bring about inner chaucha, cleanliness of the antakarana, the instrument you require for shravana. Stairya, steadfastness. Stairyam is commented upon in 2 different ways. Shankara says it is steadiness in one's commitment to the pursuit of moksha. By analysis of varieties of purusharthas, a person who has stairya has arrived at a well-ascertained conclusion that moksha is the only thing that is important for him. He has discerned the human problem and has determined that this is what he needs. It is a definite conclusion that is not shaken by anything. Such a person is likely to be a Swami because sannyasa is nothing but this determination. You declare to yourself and the world that moksha alone is what you want. The mind behind that, what is called stairya, steadfastness. You may do 100 things, but behind it all, your pursuit is not in any way compromised. Everything is for moksha. This is called stairya.
Swamiji, it is
Another
stairya, no Swamiji? Sakenta, stairya. Because when we do Sankalpam, we say that stairya.
Yeah. Even that meditation he says, no? Stira Sukha Asanam. Stira Sukha Asanam.
Stira.
There again, Stira means Stira.
Another meaning for stairya would be commitment to one's own duties. However difficult it is, I do the thing that is proper. This is one aspect of karma yoga, or conformity to dharma. The other aspect being our attitude towards karma phala. In karma yoga, we use karma not to fulfill, but to neutralize raga dvesha. This is another meaning for stairya. Once I establish moksha as the thing to be accomplished, I will do everything else necessary for that, and stairya in terms of karma naturally comes into the picture. Stairya is the ascertainment that moksha is the thing I want, and the steadiness in that is what makes my life into yoga. Once my commitment is clear, anything I do towards it becomes yoga.
See, that is why in the second definition, why he says that is, suppose the first definition is for a person who is very clear about moksha and all that, is already in that. But the second aspect is, suppose you got a commitment, you got a understanding for moksha, and you have got a commitment, and you want to live your daily life in a way in which it will be conducive to that. So there, karma, you have to necessarily do karma, but karma is yoga. When you do karma as yoga, what stairya means? Do it in such a way that what is proper only. Don't be so much focused on the phala. This is okay. With reference to the certain result only, you are doing an action. But once the result is they have planned for, and you have planned an action, a process and all that, then concentrate on the job at hand. Do it properly, precisely, without getting too much focus on the result. That is where karmanyeva adhikara hate. We have seen that. Karmanyeva adhikara hate. Adhikara means the sambandha. Sambandha is only for karma. You have all your wherewithals, however intelligent, however rich, and however great you are, all your wherewithals can only have any sambandha to the karma, not to the phala. So, phala should not be in the focus once you are already in action. You might have planned something, and because of that, this action might have been planned. But once the action is planned, your entire focus should be in karma. Those karma sambandhani. So, karma eva adhikara meaning sambandha, you have sambandha only towards karma. So, that becomes yoga. Why you are having that yoga? That yoga bhukti is because you already ascertained. Why you want karma yoga? Because you are already a mukshu. You already have a value for moksha. So you want to fashion your life in such a way that anything and everything I do in the day-to-day life, it will be not compromising with my understanding of the freedom I want to have. Moksha means what? The freedom. Freedom, the space between I and the external activities or the mind or your body, muscles, or your job, whatever it is. Everywhere you want to space, draw a line, want to have a space. So that for that space, that is called the freedom. For that freedom you cherish, you already understood that freedom is what I want to be there all the time in my life. So whether it is personal life, professional life, family life, Vedika life, Laukika life, you won't compromise with that freedom. For you not to compromise with that freedom, you will have to focus on only karma. So that is called karma yoga, not on all the time fixated about phala. All the time like a vulture, should not be. You do whatever you need to do in the present moment. Okay, life will take its own course. Everyone has their certain things, certain periphery that is going around that. Within that, the results will keep happening. Something will happen the next janma, something will happen tomorrow, something will happen next year, but irrespective of all that, focus on karma. That is called yoga. Because karma, that is the most practical way to live, because you have all the samagri, your faculties are only focused on karma. You don't have a great say in the karma phala. That we should be very clear. That understanding should be very clear. Then automatically our karma will become yoga, and that will ensure that there is a space between between me and the mind, and my body and all other activities, whatever it may be. That space will grow over a period of. That is moksha. It is not what you get after life. It is what you get here and now, the freedom. So that is how it's a practical way of explaining that the day-to-day. One is that the person is already committed and is in the moksha, sannyasi, sadhu and all that he has explained before. But the next, this particular para is for how to fashion your daily life. Yeah.
Atma Vinigraha, master over the body-mind-sense complex. Atma Vinigraha is control over the body-mind-sense complex so that it is helpful to you. Suppose you want the body to get up in the morning for study and it refuses. Then you need to train the body-mind-sense complex to behave in a way that is useful to you so that you do what is to be done for moksha. Kalidasa at one place says, Idam Shariram Adyam Dharma Sadhanam. This body is first a means for dharma. Everything else is dependent upon this. By nature, there is certain slothfulness due to tamas, which is a part of the body. The overcoming of this is Atma Vinigraha. Tamas expressing as procrastination, laziness and so on is very natural. To overcome it, we can get out and run, do some asanas and be intelligent about our diet. Whatever is necessary, we do. If the body is inimical, we bring it to a condition in which it is helpful. By nature, we want to do a lot of things, but there is only a certain amount of time available and something very important to accomplish. If you spread yourself thin, not only will you not do any of your undertakings as well, will you not do any of your undertakings well, you will also miss what you set out to accomplish. So you do one thing and do it well.
So what he means by if you spread yourself thin is this multitasking.
Yeah.
Taking too many things on hand and do nothing properly. So that we should not allow. You have only a few things focused. Yeah.
Instead of dissipating your energies in different pursuits, you focus them in what Shankara calls the way of the wise, San Marga, and eliminate everything else. The organs of action are well disciplined so that your energies are not wasted in unnecessary activities and you can focus your attention where you want it. Again and again you have to do this because the pursuit of moksha is against the natural pursuit of the body, mind and senses.
So abhyasa, that is what again and again abhyasa. You can't ask till when I should do this, Swamiji. People always, Swamiji always used to say that. Till when? There is no question of when. Till your body falls dead. You have to be alert. There is no choice.
Atma Vinigraha is setting the body-mind-sense complex on the track left by the wise Sanmarga, following their example. Or we can say, Sanmarga is the way of inquiry into Satvastu. If your mind and energy are engaged in the pursuit of knowledge, this is Sanmarga. Naturally, it implies...
There again, see, what he means is, there are two things. One is relative, another is absolute. If the Sanmarga is a way of inquiry into Satvastu. Once you are very focused, you are only doing Shravana Manana Dhyasa. Otherwise, Sanmarga is following the example of the people, Satsanga, and ensure that you take the right things and follow the right activities. All that values he has been talking about. Both are, one is relative, another is absolute. Both are equally important. Yeah.
Naturally, it implies withdrawal from other pursuits, but this is not a withdrawal based purely on this. If it is, what you want to do is one thing, and what you profess to is quite another. You may be convinced that Sanmarga is proper for you, but the desires also have to coincide with the conviction. If that conformity is lacking, the resulting inner conflict vitiates this pursuit that requires so much inner leisure. You have to educate yourself with reference to priorities.
Swamiji, I have a question.
All the time you have to ensure that you should not be very academic. You have to follow what is happening in your mind. You have to correct it, make it. You must be a unified person when you do this. It should not be just verbal. It should be really happening in your person. Yeah.
I have a question.
You were asking something.
Yeah. See, all these qualities, what we have talked about till now, how do we imbibe, or how do we practice and institutionalize?
Yeah, in the sense you have to on a day-to-day basis, he has given a lot of these day-to-day examples. You follow that. That is why I am saying the relative and absolute. A person who is committed to this he will be already having all these values and qualifications in an advanced situation. There he will have to make use of that inner leisure to do that shravanam and get that reality understanding, to stay with it. That is what will be the final point which you will be telling. That is later. But initially, for you to develop it, you have to look at the day-to-day examples. That is why he says Sanmarga, meaning how to have that inner leisure, Karmanyeva Adhikara Hate, how to follow that. What is okay, today you got an office situation. Don't take too many things on hand. Take one thing at a time and complete it. There are relative situations. In every relative situation, you be very alert to what you are doing and concentrate, focus on the steps you have to do to accomplish a certain action, rather than all the time focusing on like the promotion, all those things should not be in your focus. You just do what is done. This is a relative level. Even Sanmarga, you follow the example of anyone who is there in your nearby or in the office also. There will be somebody who is inspiring you, a role model or whatever you call it. To find out what are the good things you appreciate in him, it helps him to do well, pick it up and do it, follow it. So like that, all these things are relatively, you can pick it up in such a way that each of these qualifications, the Atma Vinigira. Atma Vinigira means what? You are in charge of your body, mind, sense complex. Meaning, you understand that body, mind, sense complex is an instrument in your hands. I am not the body, mind, sense complex. Body, mind, sense complex is in your hands. B is A, but A is not B. Swamiji always used to say that. So that itself is a big nucleus. If you are able to be alert to that understanding, that body, mind, sense complex is only an instrument in my hands, then what am I? That what am I is already largely understood. Atma is your this thing. And to be with Atma is my life's goal. Even though when I am in the office, be a happy person, be a non-demanding, peaceful person is my goal. And body, mind, sense complex, all my accomplishments, all my vibhutis in terms of my job knowledge, etc. is only an instrument. I have to put that instrument into use for the job at hand today and do it without any sense of too much of amanitvam or manitvam and ahankara, dambam and all those things. All those things you have already gone through. Keep them all aside and do it. What is the job at hand? How I can do it best to what I have planned without hurting others, taking my own subordinate, my own colleagues into confidence. All those things, all those good values which we talk about will come along once you have that objective in mind. That is how, in practical terms, you follow. That is how you follow. Every day you have to live it that way. Because you have got a value for it. Why you have got a value for it? You want to have a freedom in your. What is freedom? The space between me and my mind. At any point in time, once I have the value for that freedom, I will not allow it to compromise. I will not allow somebody's wrong behavior to hurt me. Because wrong behavior is what? One body, mind, sense complex behaves wrongly to another body, mind, sense complex. Where am I involved? I get involved when I get angry only when I get totally identified with my body, mind, sense complex. So that is where all the time you have to be alert to that. That alertness alone will help you to not get identified with the situation, good or bad. So that's why that what? Immediately what? Then so what? The gap between what and so what should be reducing over a period of time. Then we will be alert. That alertness, it is not a struggle, even though it looks like it grows on you. I tell you, you will start enjoying it once you live like that for some time. Because you feel that you are in charge and nothing really affects you. You are able to do day in and day out. So many things happen over a period of so many years. But you find that at the end of the day, you have sailed through all that without any great Everyone sails through. But some people sail through without really not getting affected. Hence, the core person grows in the understanding of that freedom. Everything else is only an upaya. Upaya meaning only that all has helped you to grow. The good and bad things in your life has helped you to grow. That is a payoff. Swamiji used to say, that is a payoff for living your life has paid you off for you to have this freedom, enjoy this freedom. So that is how day to day you have to, it's not a question of practicing it for to be like that. No. Practicing is for what? Practicing is for gaining that inner freedom. That is the objective. These things will automatically fall in place. Will not compromise on that. Find a way to make this happen and grow every day. Okay, yesterday I got over 5 situations. Not today I will get over only by 2 situations. Tomorrow by 1 situation. Thereafter I will be calm and collected, whatever is the situation. Like that you have to grow. And at no point in time you should do self-condemnation. So the self-condemnation means what? You are identifying yourself with your own bad behavior. Whereas the bad behavior is part of the complex. Whereas you have nothing to do with that. You is the being. That is because the ahankara thinks that whatever my accomplishment, good or bad, of the body, mind, sense complex is my accomplishment. This is not true. How can the instrument can give you what you call, make you an accomplished person? You are the being, the Chaitanya Swarupa. Whereas the instrument is after all an instrument. So that is that disidentified attitude, that comes only out of understanding. You must be able to see that your body, mind, sense, ego, your thoughts, emotions, what you call sentimentality, everything is only a what you call playing thought. Just Rajahati Yatha Kama, just keeps coming like a drama. You must be able to see all our emotions like that. It's only a drama unfolding. It's not I. It's not something happening to I. No. Nothing can touch I. There should be that. And that all our that Om Bhur Bhuva, Pranayam Sollumbodhu, Gayatri Sollumbodhu, we are saying all that. We are saying that Gayatri, we say the being that blesses my mind, the being that blesses the sun are one and the same. So how can in any way your body, mind, sense complex, our intelligence, our grade, our money and our position, how can it glorify the sun? But we are talking about an I, which is glorifying the sun and also me. That means that I is what? That I is the being, the Atma. That's our daily Solron, the Gayatri. So there should be a meaning in that, what we say, Om Bhuvasvaha Savitur Varenyam Vargo Devasya Dimahi Diyo Yona Prachodhyate. Vargo Devasya Dimahi. Yeah, Vargo means shining. Devasya Dimahi. an effulgent being that makes my buddhi shine, and Ishvara, that sun, Savituru, shine. Let it shine in the hearts of everyone. That means what? I am very clear when I say that the being in me is the one that shines my own body, mind, sense, Ishvara, sun's body, mind, sense, and let it brighten up the minds of all the people. And when you are saying that, you must be very clear that there is this self-shining Atma, which is what is making life shine. Should not be just verbal, should be understanding. So when we do the Upanayanam also, we should tell these things. Vadya should tell these things. The father should tell these things. By this, you are now blessing the whole world. From now on, every day you do Gayatri, you will be blessing the whole world. By your prayer, you are asking the Devatas and the Atma and the Ishvara, bless not only your mind, but also the sun and also all the people in the world. இப்படி யார் அது மாதிரி ப்ரே பண்ண முடியும்? Only when a person is very sure of himself, when he has nothing to ask for in life. That is why Dvija, that is why he got a certain birth. That is the real birth. First birth is only get the body, ayatanam, bhoga ayatanam or karma ayatanam. Just get all your things put together. By the time it's 11, 12, 9, your body gets all your limbs and all are ready for taking the journey to the next level. Dvija, you become the second, take the second birth, wherein you get connected to the whole through Upanayanam, through Gayatri. That is Upanayanam means Upa means Samipe. Nayanam means sitting with. You start sitting with Bhagavan all the time.
Actually, Swamiji, Ashwin had sent to my brother here. He had, what shall I say, on a.
He sent me also what he has given.
And my brother had framed it and all that, and he presented it to that boy, my grandson. And what Ashwin wanted him to do was to read that and try to understand what it, because he's written the meaning of all the lines. So I felt it was very good.
Then you must be able to. It is always good to have that sort of a. And then the boy, of course, you should not pressure up. Just tell him or introduce him. Grow on him over a period of time. You should not
at
guilty
least,
complaints.
Yeah, if the boy reads it, because they read books, no, they read a lot of books. So if my grandson reads it, at least he will know there's some substance in what he's doing.
And I tell you, younger people can absorb this very fast. Once they really get, once you have that feeling for Satyam in your life, once you have, you must have that anything truthful only I will abide by, irrespective of what the society says, even what parents say and all this. If it is not truthful, if it is not truthful in my understanding, I will not accept. I will question. And the parents should be ready to answer. அதுக்கு இந்த மாதிரி புக்ஸ் இந்த மாதிரி ஒரு இதெல்லாம் ஹெல்ப் பண்ணும். So you will have an answer to say, no. If you don't have the answer, what is the problem? You also do it mechanically. And no, I tell you, you do it means you will do it for some time, till the time you are around.
After that,
and once he goes somewhere, he will drop all that. And with vengeance, he will drop it. Now I have the freedom. His freedom will be not to do.
Yeah.
But a lot of things are there and all these things. I tell you, we have to pray only. Sometimes you feel you have to only pray that everything goes, let it go well.
Yes, very true. Yes.
Actually, Swamiji, in that Panchayatana Puja, after the Sankalpam, we say, A Brahma, Loka, Dasesha, Da Loka, Loka Parvatat, Ye Vasanti Tuja, Devas, Tebhyo, Nityam Namo Namaha. We say that mantra actually, right? That's what you explained just now.
Yeah, I don't know this mantra anyway, but whatever we do, we must understand and we little bit, whatever, even 10 slokas we have, must understand Tatparya when we say it. As far as possible, as we say, the mind should be tuned to that. That way, it swings in more. Initially, everyone do chanting only, but later, after some time, once you have a hang of this chant, you must start understanding. That is why that Bhagavad Gita book also, we have put that small book. There is a Srimad Bhagavad Gita book is there, where the chant as well as the simple meaning is there. So that initially you can give it to children also, they can understand that. Before coming to, then there is one book called Vision of Gita. There are 10 essential verses, like what Swamiji is talking about, essence of Gita. We have got a book, Vision of Gita, which is 10 essential verses. There again, that also is good. Like that, then another book is called Teachings of Bhagavad Gita. That is also good. That's why Swamiji only. But vision books, they leave prints there. So then thereafter, you can go for this Gita homesteading, all that. Then gradually, just some people may not have the time, the young boys and all that. Even the teenagers and graduates and all can easily read that book, Vision of Gita or Teachings of Bhagavad Gita. It gives a good overall view of what Gita's Tatparya means. So that people can easily do. That within 2-3 months he can easily complete, even if he is busy. So gradually we should be able to. But as I am telling, the only worship of Ishvara that is really efficacious is the Ishvara worship as is laid out in the Bhagavad Gita. You will never see anything else other than Ishvara understanding. Understanding Ishvara is worship of Ishvara. So that if we have that focus, automatically it will help. Okay. Om Purnamada
Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.